I'm Dan Hernandez. This is my exhibition, Kim Foster Gallery, Reset. This piece here is one of 7 pieces in the show. The sequence of pieces in the show go from narrative to abstract. So every other piece is abstraction. So there is sort of like the idea of them being set and then reset. The reset idea also comes from video games. The old consoles, like a Nintendo, would have a reset button, and you know, when you got died early in a video game, you would hit that reset button and start over because it was those games were hard and you usually only had 3 lives. A picture like this is a sort of a nod to the maps that one might find in Legend of Zelda or Pokemon kind of RPG style video game. It started with this maze. I was interested in making a garden sort of maze and thinking about Atari type games like Pac-Man or Maze Craze, where the maze was an important element in the design of the game. And then I wanted to build a world around the maze, you know. So I built this world with various places that you might visit. You know, a pretty clear nod here to the Legend of Zelda. If you remember that original game, there are a number of ponds where you might get refilled with hearts. Your heart containers would get filled up, and this is a kind of a nod to that. You know, and so each one of these little scenes is like a little vignette within the bigger picture of the painting. 3 of the 7 images are abstractions, or sort of more abstract than they are narrative, and they come out of the process of the way that I work, which is I collect things in the computer. I'll collect images of video games or cartoon imagery or images from art history, and then I deconstruct those things and use those images in Photoshop collage and make the images first in the computer before they become paintings. And I'll cut them out, and oftentimes I'll dump them into a file on the computer. And I started to notice that, and they get dumped in just one over the top of another. And I started to become interested in the relationships of them in a non-narrative way, and started to think of, I have 2 kids, Eli and Noah. They're 7 and 9, and they play with Legos, and I started to think about how the box of loose Legos was a potential for narrative but not narrative. You know, it's like a toy box of parts that one could build a world with, right? And I started to think of like this other path that might be a sort of toy box, you know. So these paintings these abstractions are just loose parts that I might use to make another image. So you'll see in these paintings some of the imagery that's in the other paintings, and then a lot of other imagery. The show is up until the 26th of March, I believe, or the end of March. If you get a chance, come down and see the show. I appreciate it.